It's very hard to say, people ask you, what kind of music do you play? Who are you? What are you? You know, and it's like, you feel like going, I'm no one, I know nobody, been nowhere. But in actual fact, you soon find out through the way that you play. And I started to, initially it was just the guitar. I mean, let's look at it this way. The guitar for me is my interface. I try and relate it as much as I possibly can because, you could look at it this way and go, well, what's it got to do with what I'm doing? I play, I'm a finger drummer or whatever you do, or a producer, engineer, blah, 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 writer, film scores, whatever you're into. But what we're talking about is mindsets. Your mind transferring to creative output. And between that is an interface. And this is my interface, yeah? So you might work in terms of, immediately selecting scales and saying, this is what I'm going to work with. No wrong notes. So there you are, you go through them and you select what works for you and you're assigning them. And in the same way, I've kind of done the groundwork because I'm an old school boy, so I've grown up with, well, there's no YouTube, there's no internet, there's nothing, there's no Google. I've got to get on the bus, go to Central Library and look up one little bit of information and get the bus all the way back to Longsight. And then that's just for one bit of information. So I'm a person who knows what it's like to have to graft for info. Info is the most valuable thing in the world, so I never knock it, no matter where it's coming from, as it's invaluable. To get it from anybody, genre, age, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. If it feeds you and helps you get to where you want to get to, that's what we're talking about, isn't it, really? So I'm saying this is my interface, the guitar. I grew up with the guitar, I'm 7 years old. What I'll just do now, because Mike, you'll have to tell me about time so that we can stick to, not overrun. Let me just give you a brief little history so we can just get through that business of, and what was it like working with Ian Brown and that? Was he all right? You know what I mean? We'll get through that. So, I'm sorry about the contrast, but that's how it is, isn't it? Yeah? Yeah, maybe just for now while I go through these slides. Yeah, he's on his way, he's getting there. Yeah, it's a little bit better. That's okay, yeah, most people see. So, I'm just going to flick through a few things, slides. This is me, happy as Larry, 1997, unaware, 96, very unaware of what's about to come my way. The abuse, we don't want no, we want the original band. I don't know that. All I know is a bunch of lads are gone, do you want to play with us? Yeah, you get paid out of the boot of a car in a brown paper bag. Grand for you, grand for you, grand for you, two for you, two, that kind of thing, yeah. But I'm happy as Larry, yeah, 96, we're doing a few festivals. But it's all about this for me. I'm just a guitarist or a writer at that time, playing music. Somebody takes notice and goes, I want to work with you. You can get together and play, write a bit of music. It just happens just like that. There's no science to it apart from if you don't put out, if you don't, in your own goodwill, instead of chasing the dollar, if you don't actually play for the sake of playing, things like this never happen. I'm a living example of how things can happen, The difference is, what I can't explain, or maybe I can, I'll attempt to explain, is the fact of how I can jump from genre to genre. And that's not as a session player, that's as a band member. You've got to bear in mind that my background is reggae and hip hop. That's my background. Biggie Smalls is my man. And as far as reggae, it's Roots Radix, people like that. The rhythm sections of reggae music and anything ska related, and the various, Caribbean influenced music. And for me, that's really what I grew up with. My hands, I'm a rhythm hand, really. I know I did a lot of the, I was moving around quite a fair bit, but that's my background. So. Happy as Larry, 1959 Gibson Les Paul, 150 grand probably. Yeah, play that. And there's about 4 or 5 of these guitars handed to me, not one. 59 Strat, 62 Strat, and it was like, oh, I've arrived. Yeah, got the worst shirt in the world, but it's But still, that's a 1959 Gibson Les Paul handed to me when I joined the Roses. This is the life, you know. This is life. After the demise of the Roses, Ian Brown era, 5, 6 albums. I was fortunate to just be in the right place at the right time, turning up with my acoustic guitar, just an old acoustic that I'd got, and I'd turn up to Ian's house and kind of asking, you know, what's going on? What's happened? I had no idea. You know, the band had split until Manny had announced it in the papers. I'd go around and play him tunes. I'd go break my guitar around and go, what do you think of this, E? Go. I mean, let me just quickly play you that tune because this is just switch my tuner off. Something dropped off. Oh, that's off the mic, isn't it? Yeah. Just put it there for Well, I mean, the main line for me was this. That's all I played, this tune. And he just went, that's mint, that tune. And I just went away, bought a fag packet back and just wrote a load of lyrics. All of a sudden there was a chorus called Corpses in the Mouths. And then another one followed. My Star, I think it was. I wrote this at home, just literally just played a... Let me play you an idea of how a tune can change over the years. This is, if I can call up the sound. Let's try that. Let's not go too far with that. I just like experiment. You know, it's one thing. The key shifted. Oh, guitarist. Oh my God, what do I do? Because I played in open chords and all that. Major dilemma, isn't it, for a guitarist? Any guitarists in here, by the way? Anybody play guitar? Yeah, a couple of guitarists. So you know, it's a problem, isn't it? Normally you can go up as you get the capo.
My problem is I can't change scales.
Say again?
I continuously changing scales.
You're continuously changing scales. There's a remedy for that, mate. I know a good doctor. I'll sort you out, no problem. But the capo's the main thing, isn't it? You want to stick to the same shapes as you do. You know, you might have learnt a progression on a keyboard or pads. You just transpose. So therefore, the capo's the transposer for a guitarist. But also, this day and age, Digitech have moved on and decided, oh, well, why can't you just transpose the guitar? That's what I just did then. I was in E, and I just transposed it. And it's pretty smooth. I know it's smooth. So I thought, okay, let's follow the techie guys and be able to move, key, transpose. Because what's important in a song, you know, it's always the key, isn't it? Because the vocals or the sound of your samples, they've got to be right. There's a right key for it. So it's the same for even guitar-based music. You've got to look for the right key for the vocals, maybe. I mean, I know you can transpose your vocals, and also if you shift a formant, you guys are familiar with formant shifting as well? Using formant, yeah, it retains the quality of that, the power of that, the natural sound of it, as opposed to going like Mickey Mouse or completely, you know, Barry White on the other end or whatever it is. You know, you're using the formant shift, and guitars are the same. This is a Kemper. Anybody know about Kempers? Kemper profiling amps? Some of you do, some of you don't. Okay, this is digital amplification. It's a computer, really. It's not an amp at all. You have to boot it up. But that's got, we'll talk about that later. It's got formant shifting, where you can make the vocal just sound like it's shifted key, but it's still got the same power and everything. So a lot of these toys here are about that. I do a lot with octave devices, because it seems to me that everything's about tempo shift or about key shift, and then about filtering. And other, you know, loads of aspects after that. But that was always the main problem for a guitarist, with things like that. We have to carry around lots of guitars, you know, all tuned to different things, and 12 strings. I've got an 11-string fretless here. I might give you a little taster of that, just to boggle the mind. That's an 11-string fretless. Yeah, it's based on what's called a oud, an African instrument called an oud, made for a guitarist. My friend was asking me, I think you were asking me before, these are all Godin guitars. It's a company called Godin, a Canadian company, and I play them because they're free. But also, they're really nice because they're innovative. They always try stuff out. Let's see the Roland GK socket. Yeah, so you can convert to MIDI, you know, whichever unit you run to. And they have all of them have it, you know. It's already built in. It's built in under the under the piezo saddles. Yeah. So there's your controls. That would be your patch changes up and down. That's your actual whatever you're controlling. That's the volume for that. That's your standard acoustic settings. And then there's some equalization control in the middle, which I never use.
Yeah. So quick and good.
Yeah. Well, quick is, as you all know, you know, your sound dictates how quick something is, isn't it? If you set a very slow attack on something, there's no way you're going to play it quickly. But it's the beauty of different instruments. Like pianos are instant, aren't they? The attack of the note is there straight away. So obviously tracking problems you will hit. But if you're playing violins, cellos, sounds like that, then, you know, that's another story. They track pretty well. But I moved into, well, this is what I was talking about. It's quite easy for me to go, oh, I'll just use Ableton and I'll just, you know, call it whatever sounds I want. But sometimes it's about character of your sounds, what influences you, what you like. And personally, I like quite retro sounds in synths and keyboards and pianos. I love the sounds of Wurlitzers and Kurzweils and Rhodes and Suitcase and specific eras. You know, I listen to the Doors and I say, well, you know, what kind of organ's that? You know, it's a compact organ. As you're going through your libraries, you get familiar with the terms, don't you? You start to go, oh, that's what it's called. And the same way I have stuff here, which this is by a company called Electro Harmonics. And have we got a straight sound? It's very hard to get a straight sound on here sometimes. I love things like flutes, you know, mellotron flutes. And if that isn't authentic to your ears, I don't know what is, you know. Because, I mean, to me, sometimes it's great for party tricks and stuff like that right now, but it has a place. You know, I could gig with this and convince the most purist of people that I'll play the keyboard part. So I'll go. You know, this, and I've got it split up into things I like. That's mainly organs, but retro organs, all vintage era organs. And then my pianos that I love, which are these kind of pianos. Oh, actually, this is more of a... It's not a piano, that is it? What's a good tune for this kind of? Yeah, let's try this tune. This is a good tune to play something like that on, isn't it? Anyway, show it off now. One of my favourite tunes, but so I kind of worked on specific sounds which I personally want to get really familiar with and make them my own in a way. You know, they just work beautifully in the context of music. I don't know what it is about, you know, mellotron or certain specific sounds. They just work fantastic. I mean, obviously it depends on the genre of music. So, you know, horses for courses. Let's just go back to this. So this is the heyday of, as I was saying, you know, Ian Brown era, a few albums. I've got into songwriting now. So I'm playing tunes and I'm seeing that how it works is you play the right melodies, you play the right grooves, you play the right riffs, and it tickles the right person, and he goes, oh, I really like that. And then all of a sudden they're writing tunes. If they have an outlet, obviously you've got to bank your, you know, where you put your energies. If you know that there's somebody, they've got a label or they've got an outlet for the music, then you make maximum effort to make sure your tunes or how you're working, you do most you can, and then but act natural and go, what do you think about this? You know, you like my tunes? just time it, you know, when they're passing the door and you just play that riff as they pass. All them dirty tricks. You know, it's all's fair in love and war, you know. so you play your tunes, and the next thing, some geezer goes, I like that tune. It goes out. Obviously, then the 90s, we're talking about serious royalties, you know, because we're talking physical formats, we're talking CDs, and some vinyl sales, and it is a serious wedge, as they call it. But things have changed now, obviously. We're into a digital domain, digital downloads. Yeah, talking about merchandising is more profitable in a physical way. What you know, churn out at the actual show itself, and, you know, getting your branding sorted. You've really got to be on the marketing and advertising case. You've got to understand what works and what doesn't. It's that you can't just go into Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and if you get really, I don't know if there's any really young in here, I think you're all quite old really, apart from you, young lady, but I don't want to get slapped or from a bloke either, but or musically, I was going to say, you know, things have changed in terms of apps that people use, social media apps. But using Facebook to promote isn't enough, you know, that I'll put 10 quid on it or 20 quid, and it doesn't work. I mean, I don't know if you've ever noticed, your organic reach is far more than paying for it. It just doesn't work on your music page, but yet your personal page has more of a reach than so on. And so there's a science to it that you have to work on this day and age. Then was a different story, because obviously we had physical products, so even though it was a rip-off, you know, I don't know, pence of CDs, you know, record labels, you knew how to make money out of, you know, good dishonest musicians like me, you know. But